Hey everyone, Frank Lorenzo with Preferred Strategies. Excited to talk to you just a bit about the WIP process today, work in process for our wonderful construction firm. So, anybody in construction probably is very familiar with the WIP, and my background was implementing solutions like Timberline and Viewpoint Vista for contractors for many years. And the WIP was always this elusive process that we rarely seem to be able to get as an automated process in the system. It was often brought to Excel. So we've got three questions we want to make sure we address today. And if we have a moment or two at the end, I'm going to try and show a quick example. So why don't we jump right to it? First question: how can I handle WIP without having to add everything manually in an Excel spreadsheet? That is a good question. That's one I've been addressing since it was a Lotus spreadsheet. If that resonates with anybody, well, what's the issue with having it in Excel? Let's talk about the pros. Pro of an Excel spreadsheet, I think, is you can take a snapshot of your data. That's a good thing because you need to be able to snapshot it or have a set point each month for that report. Um, and if you're not doing that, it's kind of like shooting at a moving target. So, hello, Monica. Hello, Jill. Hello, Ben. Good to have you on. All right. So, what are some of the issues, however? Some of the big ones, I think, obvious. Too many opportunities for errors, just an error prone process. We're copying a sheet month over month typically, or manually exporting data. Another one I find is data validation. If I'm looking at a cost to date on my spreadsheet, I can't easily drill down to the source transactions. I have to go maybe separately query a report on screen or run a history report to back it up. And it's, the kind of mistakes you hope your auditor doesn't find, um, because obviously that would shoot the credibility down and it would not be an accepted WIP report. So, how do we address that? Well, one answer is you keep the data in the database. So, either reporting directly off your ERP data or do something like we're going to suggest here, where you're using your source data and then visualizing it for outliers and trends through Power BI, which can bring us to our next question. Hello out there. All right. How can I resolve the most common errors most companies make when creating the monthly WIP report? Well, one way to mitigate that, I think, is if you have a visualization tool where you can accurately, in real time, slice and dice and query the data and look for those trends and outliers, or even set, hey, if this happens, alert me, let me know, whatever that trend is. You can greatly improve on error management and a timely WIP reporting. And so a visualization tool would be great. You enter Power BI. Ability to drill down to the details, as I mentioned on our Excel example. If I can drill into the details, I have some confidence that the costs or billings I'm looking at or changes in that fiscal period of that month are in fact accurate. I can do that on the screen very quickly. So, how do I handle WIP without having to put everything in a spreadsheet? How do I resolve the most common errors when creating a monthly WIP? There's some ideas, and again, I hope to show an example here in a moment. Um, Full disclosure, LinkedIn Live World, I've not tried to show a screen in this platform, so we'll have some fun, I think. And I like this one. Let me pull up this comment. If you can see it, alerts would be so helpful. I agree out there. Yes. If you could have the system do some of that work for you. If you know, hey, I want to be alerted, should I go over budget by X, or my percent complete goes over 100%, or my billings exceed my costs by more than X, then, send me a report, let me know. So that's something that certainly can be helpful. Good comment out there. Um, what trends and outliers should I be looking for? Third question. Looking forward to analyzing our WIP in order to take corrective actions. Um, when I worked at, I think it was particularly Viewpoint, actually, we would spend a lot of time kind of looking at the WIP and how to make improvements, how to present it better, how to get clients to engage with using it out of the system. We wrote so many WIP reports, portrait, landscape, super detailed, super simple, trying to come up with the all elusive miracle WIP is what we were after. So this is a really good one. How do you make these improvements? And what trends are we looking for? Well, I would say some trends we want to look for would be cost in excess of billings or billings in excess of cost. Need to understand not just the snapshot, because we do that, the WIP's showing us what we are, but trend over time. You can look for things that are going to continue to either erode or maybe it's just a one-time blip on the radar. So certainly managing those types of data points and doing it over time with trends, I think, can be very helpful. One concern, cost in excess. Let's say it continues to, as that trend steadily increase over months. Are we billing enough to cover our cost plus profit? If we don't catch up with our billings, we're overstating our profit. We need to be aware of that trend. Maybe we have an owner who's not going to pay. So what risk are we putting ourselves in, and how do we mitigate it? Actual costs exceed projected, putting you over 100% complete. So you look at a WIP report and you say sort by the column of percent complete. You've got one that's 1,000% complete. Obviously something's not right. So how can you easily spot that and take that over to the alert, as I was mentioning earlier? How can I set that up as an alert and be automatically made aware? Well, billings exceed your contract amount. May be true, could be true, but is it accurate? Do we have all our change orders in there? Have they all been approved in a timely fashion? Have they been approved in the right period for that WIP report? So there's some of the challenges that we can face and some of the trends that we want to look for. So summary of the questions: how can I handle WIP without manually adding in an Excel spreadsheet? How can I resolve the most common errors most companies make when creating their monthly WIP report? And then finally, what trends and outliers should we be looking for when analyzing our WIP in order to take corrective actions? Take a moment and see if there's more thoughts out there in LinkedIn land. Yes, yep, like the alerts too. Some comments on that. Okay, then let me venture off into the unknown here and see if I can actually share a screen. Might get myself in trouble, but let's give it a try. Okay, put that right here. And there is a share button. That's step one. Okay. And here we go. Should be seeing it in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So this is just an example of a job cost report that we provide, for example, with our data model in Power BI with QuickLaunch. And obviously, because we work with Viewpoint and large contractors and JD Edwards, we have some examples that may resonate. So if you look over here for a moment, you can see I have various pages that make up this report. And I started with a visual to give you an idea of how things may look with visualizing the data and the different types of charts, including, for example, this backlog revenue by region and backlog revenue with like a waterfall type chart or waterfall here on the backlog revenue. And then over here, you notice I can slice and dice this in real time by month, by job, by period year, by calendar. And then I wanted to show this. If we come over to the WIP right here, hopefully you can see it. And then just permit me for a moment. Let me show you what I can do with this and a bit about what a good data model looks like to help manage all this. So if I edit here, I want you to notice on the right, these are my fields. This is the data model, for example, that we provide for Viewpoint Vista that takes all the data and puts it in a nice, easy to access and work with format. So I can create my own reports, including time-based measures, calendaring, fiscal periods, and things like that. Also notice, I've got all these calculations. Well, instead of having to write all these formulas in Excel, right? Or even if I'm writing, say, a Crystal report or an SSRS report, instead of having to write the formulas, all the formulas are fields that are validated and you can just access. And it's pretty rich. So if I look here and I want to look at just maybe something in the actual, there's build, costs, hours, markup, profit, units, cost in excess. So all these are formulas that are now just part of my model, so I can just select them. So that's pretty cool. Now I'm looking at this in a row and columnar format, but let's say I want to sort this. I want to look for something right out of the gate. So if I sort this by the highest percent complete job to date, you see obviously something's in this area. Costs, 0 contract amount, 0 build, 942% the same. Then we start getting right into here. 106%, 100%. Now let's say I wanted to visualize this data. Let's just try something here. So because it's Microsoft, I want to make this a little smaller so I can copy the visual, and then I should be able to paste the visual. Okay. And if we drag that over here, I've got it side by side. And on this one, I want to look through different visuals that might help me. So help me spot outliers, trends. Now you've got a wealth of different visuals that you can utilize to kind of manage your data and obviously make this your own. And then I can easily just go ahead and save this. Or let's say I like this and I want this exactly as it is. Make this a little smaller so it fits side by side. Okay, let's say I want to take that and I'm taking it mobile. I want to be able to access my WIP on this device. Imagine that. So you see the visuals over here. This looks like a phone. I'm just going to place them where I'd like. Get the idea. I won't build the whole thing, but I wanted you to get a feel. Let's say I want this here. I want to make this a little bigger so maybe I got a chance of actually reading it on my phone. And then I want my slicers right down at the bottom so I can quickly select. Once I save, that's now on my phone. But let's go back. I'm not going to save it. I wanted to show one other thing that speaks directly to the three questions that we were talking about a moment ago. So here I am in my WIP. Well, geez, actual cost $1.8 million. What is that? If I right mouse click, I should be able to drill through, devil's in the details, drill through to the job billing, job profit. And so having access to the no billings on this one, I don't know that we'll have much, but all the transactional records that make that up are here and available and responsive and quick. So now what have I got? I've got a way to visualize my data. I've got a way to slice and dice it where I can look for those trends that are important. I've got a way to take it mobile. I've got a way to validate the data because I can drill into the source transactions. Oftentimes, oh, and one other little neat trick I'll just mention here briefly, so I have another minute or two, is I can comment. Ben and I, one of my colleagues, we like to do this quite often because we enjoy, playing with the system. But oftentimes you'll get a report that generates a question. You need clarification. So I'm going to say at Ben, there he is, bada boom, is this up to date? Now, as soon as I post that, Ben gets notified every way he can. His email, his computer, his mobile's going off probably right now. And then he can click the button, see the same WIP report, address the question. So you've got your data and you've got the corresponding dialogue. I think that's just worth mentioning. And then just a few other visuals here. If I want to get into my job cost details, take a look at an earnings report, but have a nice visual. And then any of these be able to slice and dice and drill into. That's something I can do. So we're just about at the time. I always promise to keep these at 15 minutes or maybe a hair short so you get a minute of your life back. But let's see if we have any other questions out there. We all learn together. That's a good one. All right, let me stop sharing this screen. There we go. We all learn together. Now we all know how to share. That's great. And true. So if there are no other questions, this will be recorded. So let's summarize. We addressed the WIP, work in process. We touched on it. We obviously didn't cover it in great detail in the time we had. But if you have questions or want to delve into it further, just reach out to anybody here. We obviously love to talk about it. We have a lot of folks that understand construction finance. So that's something that we'd be happy to talk to you about. And again, we'll be doing this every week, Thursday, 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific. Look forward for some more questions next week. And we'll advertise ahead what topic areas. In fact, if you have some topics you'd like us to focus on, boom, just please send them over. We'll try and work them in. And with that, I am Frank DiLorenzo, Preferred Strategies. I kind of like to go by Data Dilo. I don't know, maybe silly, but I do love what we do and love the data. We can help. Reach out. Have a great day, everybody. And thank you for being here with us. Take care.